I want to start by saying that voting by mail in Oklahoma is a convenient method of casting your vote. There is no excuse in Oklahoma that's required to vote by absentee ballot. I also want to reassure Oklahomans that absentee voting in Oklahoma is a secure method of casting your ballot because of Oklahoma's election security and election integrity measures, including requirements regarding chain of custody of absentee ballots and the verification of absentee ballot affidavits. It is critical to ensure that the person to whom a ballot is issued is the same person who is voting that ballot and is signing the affidavit. And in Oklahoma, we have protections to ensure that that is the case to help protect the integrity of our elections. Now, most people know this, but I want to make sure that everyone does. There are different types of absentee ballots in Oklahoma. Most people vote what we refer to as a standard absentee ballot, and those absentee ballot affidavits for standard absentee ballots are verified by the notarization of the signature of the voter. For physically incapacitated voters and their caretakers, notarization is not required. Those can be verified by the witnessing of two people. Also, I want to mention that Senate Bill 210, which became law last month, creates a new option for absentee voter verification during the COVID-19 state of emergency, and this is in effect for the June 30th primary election. And what this new option offers is that instead of having a signature notarized or witnessed, depending on the type of absentee ballot that the voter has, the voter now has an option of attaching a copy of their valid photo identification issued by a tribal government, the state government, or the federal government, or their free voter ID card that every voter is issued when they register to vote. And they can attach a copy of that ID to the affidavit envelope instead of having it witnessed or notarized. Back in January, some conversations started between the associations that are with us here today and the state election board, and this was well before anyone really had COVID-19 even on the radar, but we had reached out to financial institution associations in the state to inquire about the possibility of them encouraging their members to offer free absentee voter services such as notarization of absentee ballots. And as the Secretary of the State Election Board, as the chief election official in the state of Oklahoma, I'm very proud to be joined by the representatives of the Oklahoma Bankers Association and the Oklahoma Credit Union Association and the Community Bankers Association of Oklahoma to announce that participating financial institutions across the state plan to offer free absentee voting services to all Oklahoma voters, whether they are customers of that financial institution or not. Banks and credit unions are in almost every community across our state. They're our neighbors, they are our community partners, and they realize the importance of democracy. And that's why we're excited to work with these financial institutions to ensure that every voter, both customers and non-customers alike, have free and convenient absentee voter services available to them. Now, what are these services that are available? They will vary by institution, but what we will see across the state is that financial institutions will be offering at least one of these options. They'll make free copies of your ID. Some will make that available through their lobby or through their drive-through or both. And there will be financial institutions that offer free absentee ballot notarization, and that may be in the lobby or through the drive-through, and the level of participation will vary. But to make it easy for voters to find out where these participating financial institutions are located, the State Election Board has created a special page on our website. If you go to our homepage at elections.ok.gov, that's elections.ok.gov. You can find a list of participating financial institutions. It'll show the services that they are offering at any particular location, and they will also have the hours of availability at that financial institution. And we encourage voters to check back on a regular basis because we'll be updating that list daily because we think the list of financial institutions participating in this program will grow by the day. And at this time, I'd like to turn it over to our association members, Adrienne Beverage from the Oklahoma Bankers Association.
Perfect. Thank you, Mr. Secretary, for the opportunity to be here today and for the initial meeting we had several months ago regarding this issue. When we were first approached about what could we do to make absentee voting easier for Oklahomans, it was a no-brainer for us to jump in. The Oklahoma Bankers Association represents over 200 community banks across the state, ranging from your smallest banks to your largest regional banks. And this is what our folks do on a daily basis, is help their customers do what they can to help their citizens in their communities. So the opportunity to partner with the State Election Board offering photocopy services and notarization services was an easy decision for us to make. And I'm excited that we rolled this out earlier to our membership, and we've had a great response with numerous banks signing up all of their locations to offer these services. And we're just excited, and we're just glad to be a part of the process.
Thank you. Nate Webb, from the Credit Union Association.
Yeah. Excuse me. Well, I can first of all thank Secretary Zierks as well as Senator Hall for their leadership on this important issue, really. Credit unions and banks as well, one of our key tenets is community service. And so when we were asked to help with this very important subject, this very important process. Like Adrienne said, we were happy to do it, and there's probably no greater privilege and right that we have as Oklahomans and Americans than to vote, and to help in that process we felt was just the right thing to do, and we're happy to be a part of it. So thank you.
And I believe Craig Buford from the Community Bankers Association of Oklahoma is on the telephone. Craig, would you like to make a comment?
Yes, and thank you, Mr. Secretary. I'd like to thank you. I'd like to thank Senator Hall, Commissioner Mick Thompson of our state banking department, who's not with us today. Obviously, the legislature and the governor for, I just think, some extreme proactivity to try to keep our elections safe, but still come up with a very creative and efficient way to keep those ballots safe and accurate. And the community banks of our state, I think, are excited for the most part to be able to jump in there and help. And I think you'll see the same reaction that community banks give to our customers every day, trying to be a big part of those communities. I think you'll see that in this process, and just encourage folks to go into the bank, visit with them, go to that website and see the banks, what services they offer, and that may change from time to time as the banks begin to open the lobbies back up and things gain some sense of normalcy. Mr. Secretary, we really appreciate this opportunity today.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary, and particularly thank you for your leadership in this. So once again, the Oklahoma State Election Board has stepped up and identified an issue, a problem, and potentially and has corrected it. Folks, this is exactly what happens when we bring some of the what is known in this country as one of the strongest and most innovative banking systems in the United States here in Oklahoma, and put them together with one of the most innovative and best performing election boards in the country. I'm extremely excited and thrilled that we were able to call together the members of the Oklahoma Bankers Association, the Community Bankers Association of Oklahoma, and the Credit Unions of Oklahoma to take advantage of an opportunity to once again do what we've done in this industry for years and years, and that is serve our customers, serve our state, and serve our communities. And this is a fine example of all of us working together to continue that. This was not going to be quite the issue that I thought it was until we came up with until the COVID issue arose. We still have a lot of clients, a lot of customers that are practicing social distancing. They remained concerned potentially about their health, and so the idea of being able to provide notary services, to be able to provide copy services through the drive-through, I think is a special idea. For years, we've performed these services. In fact, in my communications with the associations and the state banking department, we were reminded that notary services and copy services for all of our customers under many other circumstances. It's always been done. But we have yet to really truly utilize the drive-through services. So for those that want to really practice social distancing, this will allow them to come through the drive-through and be able to take care of their absentee ballots and participate in the process. I'm thrilled to tell you that by and large in the state of Oklahoma, banks are back up, open, operating. We're performing our services and our duties to our communities, and I'm just thrilled that all of us today were able to come together and do something on behalf of the state of Oklahoma. So thank you very much for coming together, and I want to thank the associations, Mr. Secretary, and the State Bank Commission for all their hard work.
And before I open up to questions, I do want to say again, I very much appreciate that the financial institution associations have agreed to encourage their members to offer these services, and I think it will make what is really already a very convenient process even more convenient for Oklahoma voters. And at that time, or at this time, I think we can open it up for questions if there are any, and whether it's for me or the senator or any of the associations, we'd be happy to answer those.
So, I mean, I guess cumulatively, would it be safe to say just most banks, credit unions, and community banks will offer these free services?
I think it's safe to say that number will increase as we go along. I think many of our institutions, or some certainly, are still addressing some operational issues resulting from, obviously, the pandemic. And I think that recovery varies between institution and institution. That's why I think that the website is an outstanding idea, so that people can check for updates and find out exactly what's available where.
Would the notary for a mail-in ballot also be free?
Well, under Oklahoma law, a notary cannot charge to notarize an absentee ballot anyway, and what we have seen from financial institutions, as we just heard, is that for customers, notarization services have generally been offered by most banks and credit unions for their customers already. What they're agreeing to do now, the participating institutions are basically not going to care if a voter is a customer or not. If they're an absentee voter, a participating financial institution will notarize that absentee ballot affidavit for them, even though they're not a customer. Are there any other questions?
Just curious, is there anything else that, because it seems like, this being free for voting, would this ever be extended to other government services that you would need a notarization for?
I can only speak to elections because I'm the election board secretary, and I certainly don't want to put any words in the mouths of the association heads who are here today. But what I can tell you is that this is a very special situation. It's about making absentee voting services available to anyone who wants it, and that's a critical feature in our democracy, and we're really glad that the associations have stepped up and that so many of their members are willing to offer these services.
Do you think this would have happened if it wasn't for COVID-19?
Yes, as I mentioned, we began these discussions in January, and certainly when COVID-19 started causing some lockdowns and shutdowns, I think that put us a little behind schedule. Senator Hall, I know you were instrumental in making sure that the process continued to move forward. And what I can say is, yes, I think this was going to happen regardless. But I think with the COVID-19 state of emergency in effect, I think it has certainly encouraged participation. And I don't know if any of the association members would like to speak to that, but.
As Mr. Secretary said, we started this process back in January, and we were all in at that time, and we were making great headway. And then COVID arrived and kind of shut it down for a little bit. And then with the changes at the legislature, adding the photocopy option, that just ramped it up even more and piqued our interest even more. So we were all in from the time these discussions initially started, and we will continue to be throughout the entire process.
Yes.
I know some libraries have also stepped up to offer free photo ID copy services. Are there any other industries that you've seen offering that?
Well, I've heard from one of our county election board secretaries who's working, I think, with notaries to set up drive-through notarizations in her county. So I think there will be other organizations that step up. In fact, our website will also include other organizations and businesses that want to offer those services. We've got a page that's exclusively for the financial institutions, but we're going to be adding information about other services that are offered as well. And Senator Hall, did you want to add anything?
Well, I just wanted to say, I don't want it to be lost on anybody that this is the perfect industry to be able to do this. The financial services industry has locations in some form in every corner of the state and all stops in between. So for our citizens, for our citizens in the state of Oklahoma who are wanting to use absentee ballots, this is an opportunity for you to easily find some place that will perform your notary service, or for those that don't have access to a copy machine and want to use the approved identification format to approve your absentee ballot. You'll be able to go to your local financial institution and take advantage of that. So again, another reason to be excited about what we've accomplished here today.